Hey guys, here we are at Husqvarna HQ. We've got the Transmoto guys out here to pick up their 2018 TE250 project bike that we're going to have for a few months. So just thought we'd go over a few little things just to help on adjustment and free play and a bit of customising. Okay, so the first thing we're going to cover is throttle free play. Now free play is very important, especially on a two-stroke. At idle, it'll tend to run on and things like that if you do not have free play or enough free play, especially with turning of the handlebars, your free play does change. What I like to do is generally I tend to run about 2 mil at the cable. It is quite easy to adjust, usually a pair of pliers and a 10 mil spanner. And then once I've got my initial free play adjustment here, I tend to go off feel off the handlebar. Next we're going to cover rear brake adjustment. Now with a rear brake you have height and then you have adjustment. As far as free play, you've got a clevis here on the end of the brake. It is adjustable up and down, that is your free play. So first I would like to do adjustment from your height, from a personal characteristics, and then go to free play. Free play is very important on the rear brake. A lot of time people don't run enough. This causes the rear brake master cylinder to actually not bleed off internally. So your rear brake will actually lock up or just you will not have it because it will boil. As far as adjustment's concerned, it's easy for a 10 mil spanner in here. You will need two, there's a lock nut and an adjustment. Very simple to do. Okay, now with chain adjustment. Chain adjustment is also one of the quite important things. With too much or too less chain adjustment, it does affect a lot of things as far as handling capabilities, even maintenance factors. If you tend to run a very tight chain, you will chew rear wheel bearings, possibly swing arm bearings. You put load on your countershaft bearing if it's too tight. People just think it's too tight, too loose. It's a little bit more than that. What I like to do, I use a ruler. Refer to your owner's manual on this, but it's 55 to 58 millimeters at the back of the chain guide. Simply measure from there to the bottom of the link. 57 mil, that's me. Okay, so in terms of adjustment up around the steering stem, you do have a few little adjustments. Out of the box, the steering stems are quite loose, which in the bush with rocks and sticks and roots, they tend to deflect a lot and they're very bouncy. So I like to tighten them up just a little bit, just there's enough resistance on there to not just throw out of your hands. And just on the stand, you know, it's not just going to fall back onto full lock, just so it can hold itself. So a key feature of the Husqvarna Enduro range, you have an adjustable steering stop adjustment. Generally out of the crate, they're at about 10 millimeters out from the frame, so you've only got about 40 to 50 degree sweep. I like to wind them all the way in. Check that it's not going to foul on the radiator or the frame or anything like that. This gives you a lot more steering lock for tight single trails through trees and a few other things like that. As standard, the Husqvarna Enduro range comes with a side stand. For ADR purposes, they run a spacer on the side stand so that when the side stand is put down, it hits on the spacer and then automatically goes back up. Tend to always knock over bikes and things like that because no one's actually sure that the side stand's down. So what I like to do, in the box, they come with a shorter bolt. Simply take that spacer out, put the short bolt in, and then it will stay down. It is secured. Now this securing pin on the Magura brakes, which is featured new for the 2018 model Husqvarnas, basically it just locks the brake pin in, which holds the brake pads. Just ensure that it is from front to rear. It does only go that way on the new models, but do be wary if you do have an older model with some Brembos, they do come in from the back, tend to get hit with sticks and little things like that and get knocked out, can lose your brake pads. Now one thing people tend to forget when setting their bike up and customising things is actual bar mount adjustment. They do obviously roll their bars front and rear, not actually moving the handlebar mounts. So on the Husqvarna you've got two mounts, you've got a front and a rear mount, and you've also got an offset clamp, so you can turn the clamp around and get basically 4 different positions in your handlebar. It is very important when it comes to body weight position and things like that. You know, if you move it into your forward position, you're naturally sitting that extra inch closer to the fuel tank. Can mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people. One little tip I like to do with the air filter cover, sometimes they do get a bit stiff to pull off on the rivets. One easy thing, rub your finger on the air filter, Just grease up the plastic bits a little bit. Nice and easy to remove.